imagine sending an SMS or an email and your message disappears before your customer even has a chance to see it. You paid a lot of money to build that list. You worked hard to build that list. And poof, it ends up in an unknown folder, or worse, stripped of tracking so you don't even know if it converted. Sounds like a nightmare? Well, welcome to the new reality with iOS 26. And if you haven't adapted, your SMS and email marketing could be dying a slow, silent death. Stick around because I'm going to be breaking down exactly what's changed in iOS 26, why it's a big deal, and the 5 specific strategies you can use right now to future-proof your campaigns. So with that being said, let's get started. So let's start off by what's new in iOS 26 in the first place, and what are those things that are actually affecting your retention channels? Well, here are the biggest shifts that marketers need to specifically know about iOS 26 based on Apple's announcements and a few industry sources. Well, the first thing we want to talk about is the inbox and messaging filtering for unknown senders. If your SMS, MMS, or RCS messages come from a number that a user hasn't saved or hasn't interacted with, it may be routed to an unknown sender folder in Messages. By default, this setting is off, but users can easily turn it on. Once it's turned on, messages from unknown numbers don't show up in the main inbox. Often, no sound, no notifications, no idea if you're actually being seen in the first place. There's also a spam folder for more obviously unwanted messages, and these links are disabled. Next, we have time-sensitive exceptions. Messages like verification codes, double opt-in confirmations, transaction updates will surface in the main inbox temporarily, even from unknown senders, but only for about an hour. After that, if the thread isn't known, it may get filtered into one of these other tabs. Next, we have stricter link tracking protection that's ultimately going to affect email attribution changes. Apple is expanding its link tracking protection in Messages and Mail. Parameters like UTMs are now getting stripped from URLs to limit cross-site tracking. Apple, one of the biggest companies in the world, it's all about data protection and privacy, right? This is what we've been hearing since iOS 14. Ultimately, they're just making it more challenging from outside marketers to actually do their job and have efficient campaigns. What we're seeing here is another power struggle with Apple taking away the ability for marketers and brands to operate with the technology available on the market. As a result, attribution is now getting fuzzier. Funnels, post-click metrics, etc. are now being impacted across SMS and email channels. The thing that I'm most worried about is attribution and being able to actually track, if we send this email to this person, are we going to get results? Ultimately, that tracking's now going to become more fuzzy. It's not going to be apples to apples. And we're going to see more of the iOS attribution issues that we've seen across Meta and Google and other ad platforms now in the retention space. Next, we have email inbox changes to Apple Mail. This is tabs, summaries, and bundling. Emails will now be sorted more aggressively into tabs like transactions, updates, and promotions, similar to what we've seen in Gmail for years. Many newsletters will now land in the updates section instead of the primary inbox. Similar to what we see with the promo tab in Gmail, that's now going to be applied to Apple Mail. And you know I love AI summaries. Apple is introducing AI summaries that may replace or override pre-header text or pre-header expectations. The system may generate its own summary for your email bodies. Remember, you guys know I've been talking about AI email summaries now for the last 6 months. It's not all about the subject line and pre-header. We now need to build emails a specific way to make sure AI email summarizers are going to help us get that open upon the email. If you're looking for more information on email summarizers, I'll put a link to another video that I did a few months ago about the topic. Then we have grouping and bundling. Multiple emails from the same sender may be grouped. Only the latest subject line shows unless the user drills in. Once again, we're now having more limitations to how emails are being surfaced, ultimately affecting the performance of email as a channel. What this is going to cause us to have to do is more hyper segmentation, list management, deliverability management, and ultimately best practices across the board. We're gonna have to send better emails. We're gonna have to be more engaging, and we're gonna make sure that our user is excited to see an email and is stoked to open one of our brand's emails. Next, we have RCS support and enhanced messaging capabilities. Under iOS 26, RCS support is now growing. If you don't know what RCS is, it stands for Rich Communication Services. And this ultimately is going to create more visual and interactive options in messaging, allowing buttons, carousels, and richer UI. Brands will have more opportunity here, but it's also going to come with additional complexity in deliverability and design. And lastly, I want to talk about the new privacy and on-device intelligence updates. This is all about less data leaving the device and more processing locally. And ultimately, we're seeing stronger protections around tracking, fingerprinting, etc. Apple's leveraging more of its technology to be able to ultimately keep the consumer safer. And hey, I don't have a problem with this. I specifically hate spam. I hate spam across email and SMS. I gotta say, I get probably around 24 spam SMS campaigns a day to my phone. I get probably hundreds a day through email. I'm getting added to Beehive newsletters and all Substack newsletters, all of these people that are doing things without best practices. I'm all about staying within consumer protections. But the one thing that is challenging as a marketer, I don't want to see things become more challenging for us. It's already been a tough year in 2025. And when things get tougher, it ultimately is going to impact revenue. Speaking of marketers, why does this all matter, and what are the full impacts on marketers in 2025? These changes have real consequences. And here are the risks, but also the opportunities with that. So let's start off with risks and challenges. And first off, I want to talk about the deliverability and visibility drop. Your messages might land in unknown senders or spam folders where recipients don't get a notification. If they don't check that folder, your message may never be seen. This impacts engagement metrics drastically. Next, we have opt-in completion issues. Double opt-in flows and confirmation messages may now be lost or go unnoticed if they land filtered. Some people who signed up to get a confirmation SMS might never even see it. And then we have measurement and attribution degradation. With link parameters stripped, you won't always know where a click came from. Cross-channel attribution, email, SMS, website conversions become less reliable. Open rates and click rates are ultimately going to become harder to interpret at the end of the day, as they're going to become more vanity metrics. It's like ROAS and Meta. We know it's not perfect. It's not a sum of the actual campaign's performance. And then we have user experience risk. Users might just straight up ignore or abandon unknown sender folders. If your messages are filtered there, you might never interact. Spamming or low quality generic messages increase the risk of being marked spam. So now we talked about the bad, but now let's get into the opportunities where good marketers are gonna win in 2025. Trust in brand becomes paramount. Being recognized as a known sender by the user, that's someone who's saved a contact, they've replied, they've marked that it's known. It becomes ultra important. Messages from trusted contacts are going to get placed normally, and ultimately, trusted contacts from trusted brands are going to get more real estate and attention. That's the big opportunity here. If you're following the best practices, if you're cleaning your list, following deliverability, keeping in good compliance, and ultimately delivering amazing content, offers, promotions, and products to your list, you're going to win. Next, first-party data gains value. This includes preferences, engagement, behavior on your site, replies to SMS. These all become more precious, and tailored messages will outperform generic blasts. We see this time and time again at Breadloaf within our retention program. The more personalized you can make messages, the more one-to-one you can make them, the more components you can put into there, and more first-party data you can collect, the better results you're gonna get, because they're more engaging, and consumers and subscribers can see that that campaign was tailored more to them. Next, we have better cross-channel integrations. SMS plus email plus push plus app plus even offline behaviors. Orchestrating all these campaigns across channels is more valuable. This also helps with redundancy and ensuring messages are seen. We have 4 pillars to our retention program: email, SMS, push, and direct mail. Those are 4 channels that all work together. And I'm gonna tell you, in 2025 and beyond, those 4 pillars are ultimately going to become more important. And if you're lazy and you don't want to run direct mail, or you don't want to build an app and generate push opt-ins, you're going to see more challenges in the future. We need to get these 4 channels all working together. And now it's ultimately become the standard for any brand in D2C. And lastly, rich messages and RCS can differentiate you. Building visually compelling and interactive messaging experiences may lead to higher engagement. We've never had access to these tools before with rich messaging, so it will be exciting to see what we can do besides just sending a standard text with potentially an MMS file attached to it. Enough with theory. Let's get into what you can do now to make sure your SMS, text, and email programs not only survive iOS 26, but they thrive with iOS 26. Here are the concrete strategies you need to know. Number 1, ensure subscribers save your number. They need to mark it as known. And your welcome SMS or first steps messages include a contact card, a .fcf file, so they can save your number with one tap. Most likely you're already doing this, but I can tell you through the hundreds of brands that we audit on a monthly basis, it is crazy to see how many do not have a contact card in 2025. It's mandatory. You're gonna need a contact card if you want them to save your number. And how are you gonna do that? Well, you're gonna prompt them in the copy. It's simple. Add us to your contacts so you never miss an offer. And if you don't have a contact card yet, you're going to want to set one up and get your customers to save it. Number 2, use opt-in flows that make you a known sender immediately. Tap to join or text keyword messages that actually gets the customer to open their messages app and begin the conversation is where we want to go with this. When the user initiates the thread, that helps class you as known. For web forms or desktop-based signups, be explicit about what to expect and give enough time for confirmations to actually happen because of the filtering delay. And number 3, you want to segment and personalize aggressively. Use behavioral triggers like recent purchase, cart abandonment, browsing behavior, so your messages are highly relevant. Relevance helps reduce spam flags and encourages replies or contact saves. And then separate transactional and promotional messages on different numbers if possible. Transactional messages like order status, OTPs, etc. should get high priority, and you want to make sure that those transactional messages never get lost, that they're saved. And number 4, optimize email content for new formats. Subject lines need to be more compelling. Pre-headers are less reliable since AI summaries may override, so front load the important contact there. Encourage readers to move your email to the primary or VIP tabs. Include reminders or instructions like drag to us to primary, add to contacts, in email footers, or welcome series to get them to do it. Listen, if you don't tell a consumer to do something, they're not going to do it because they're not going to know. And then lastly, you want to start building your emails to be more friendly to email summarizers. That means you need to start using live text. The days of building beautifully designed PSD emails and just chopping them up and linking them all are gone. You need to do more than just adding alt text in the back of images. You need to make sure that these email summarizers are going to properly summarize what it is that you're saying, what's the call to action, the offer, and what someone can do, because that summary is going to become more important over time. And number 5, focus on branded links and clean attribution models. Use branded short links, domain verified settings, and clear link structures that don't rely solely on tracking parameters that might be stripped. And then you're going to want to track more outcomes downstream, like clicks to conversions, even without perfect tracking. You're going to want to look at repeat purchase rates and engagement metrics beyond open rates, like click replies and time on page. Number 6, you're going to monitor and test performance by device, OS, and channel. You're going to want to compare how iPhone users behave versus Android, or old iOS versions versus iOS 26. When it comes to this, you're going to want to look for drops in opt-in completion and deliverability per OS and per channel. And from here, you're going to want to A/B test messaging formats, timing, sender names, and interactivity. Number 7, you're going to want to prepare for RCS wherever possible. From here, you're going to want to explore whether your SMS provider can deploy RCS messages. You're going to want to use rich content like buttons and carousels for high impact flows, product launches, back in stock alerts, and promotions. And finally, number 8, you're going to want to educate your subscribers. Let them know if you didn't see our text in the main messages inbox, check your unknown sender folder. Make this useful as part of the onboarding process and in periodic reminders. Similar for email, you're going to want to add messaging that says check your updates, promo tabs, and add us to your primary VIP folders. So how can you plan for all of this? I put together a little strategy checklist and forecast for the next few weeks that you can actually use moving forward. So this week, first thing you can do is audit your current email and SMS opt-in flows and identify whether your methods already create known sender status. Add content cards and update form instructions. In the next 1 to 2 weeks, you're going to want to segment your list by OS and device. And from there, you're going to want to begin testing variations in messaging content. Also, make sure to update your branding and domain authentication for email. Then next month, you're going to want to try RCS for visual messaging. You're going to want to monitor the attribution shifts and adjust KPIs as campaigns are going to become less reliant on open rates. And then ongoing from there, the months beyond, you're going to want to keep an eye on Apple's further clarifications when it comes to beta OS feedback. Refine messaging personalization and reduce generic messaging. You want to build trust and add consistency in the messaging with the end user. And looking ahead, here's what the future might look like if you adapt versus if you don't. If you adapt well, your deliverability stays strong and you build a more engaged audience with higher response rates and less waste. And if you don't, your messages are going to get hidden, you're going to have lower engagement, you're going to have ROI drops, and your competing impressions are going to get lost, possibly even adjusting to a higher cost per acquisition or new renewal because your channels are now going to become less effective. If you don't follow these best practices, you're going to crumble your retention program. This isn't just email, it's not just SMS or vice versa. The 2 pillars from your retention program are now changing forever. So here's the bottom line. iOS 26 doesn't kill SMS or email marketing, but it resets the playing field. Brands who succeed will be the ones who embrace trust, personalization, and a multi-channel mindset. They'll make sure they're known senders, they create content people want to save, and rely less on fragile tracking hacks and build more strong, real relationships with their customers and subscribers. So here's the challenge. Over the next 24 hours, pick one thing from this video, maybe add your number to your contact card or revamp your newsletter subject lines. Implement it and see if engagement goes up. And if you found this video helpful and you want some help with your retention marketing services, I have a killer offer for you today. My company, Breadloaf, has a program called the Retention Labs, and we have an audit that we normally charge $4,000 for, where we go through your email, SMS, push, and direct mail channels. It takes us about a week. We get access to your Attentive, Klaviyo, PostScript account, whatever you're using. And our analyst team goes through this, and then we present it on a 45-minute to an hour Zoom. I'd love to offer this to you for free. There's a lot of things that you're gonna have to implement, and if you're not an expert in this, you're gonna need some help, and I wanna help you. You need to qualify for this. It's not available for everyone, but I'm gonna put a link below so you can check it out. And if you have a chance to try some of these things, drop your results in the comments, and let's track and figure this out together. Hit the like, subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss any updates from me. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.